just want to kind of re-emphasize what Matt and Evan has been saying. When we first met up, when I first met up with GDA, it was in the capacity of IPC. We all know IPC really as a standards group. And as a standards group, we, from a Malaysia perspective, always think standards is a large document already presented, already written up. We follow it religiously. We make sure it's done. And so when IPC rebranded itself into GDA, my first question is, are you taking a more proactive stance? Proactive, basically, what Devon and Matt are saying this morning is that to create a standard, you can't just sit down and write documents. You have to get a lot of people together, discuss. They must be prepared to openly discuss in forum. And that has been what IPC has been doing. You cannot get the kinds of members that we have 3,000 plus together if they're not prepared to open their kimono. How are you going to create a new standard if you don't talk about what's the newest stuff that you want to have happen? So there is really where I felt it's a really good discussion to have. Because Malaysia needs to be prepared to share what we know that's in this room and outside this room. And we happen to call it a consortium, which is very different from an association. An association, you can have anybody join. It's an association. We associate with each other. A consortium has things to do. And so this is where I want to introduce and say, this is the objective of what we've been hearing this morning. As you also heard, Mr. Lau presented, the government wants us to work together. That's why they put money in. I know a lot of us are not used to that. We are used to, as Mr. Lau jokingly says, when can I get more money to build my plant? Where can I get more money to do this? If you don't give me money, there's no need for me to do IR 4.0. I have heard that from CEOs. The government's not giving me money for doing digitization, so I have no need for me to do that. It doesn't work like that anymore. If you don't decide to do, Vietnam will do it for you. India is really doing it for you. Even Indonesia will do it for you. If you don't want to do. Now, if you want to do, then you decide. What do you want to do? Find help, work together, and then the government will say, okay, you need some help. That's the context that I want to share this morning to introduce what Malaysia has to do. Expectation. As we already know, Malaysia packages 13% of worldwide chip shipments today. And you can see the data. That is from a famous marketing we already have. Advanced packaging is going to be the way to go. You've heard that from Dr. Devon, you've heard from GPAs, what they're doing from all their different discussions around the world. That's what's happening. The growth is happening. Next slide, please. So the question is, what is advanced about packaging? We have to start with what is the traditional. Traditional packaging is this. What is it? You see a chip, one chip. You package it, you put some bond, you encapsulate it in a black epoxy or whatever form, and there's a lid. Our Malaysian OSATs are doing that. We've been strong. That's what the 13% we're talking about. Most of it is this way. If you look at what is happening, what you need to do, all you're doing is you get a chip. It doesn't matter what is inside the chip. You bond it. Then you make sure the external dimensions fit what the PC board needs to do. So there are only two things you have to do. Make sure the outside dimensions are correct. Make sure the inside done properly. And everything else is done. You just send the chip. Today, that's what we do. Now, the question is, what's happening? Next slide, please. Why is advanced packaging needed? Number one, Moore's law is slowing down. I think we know that, but we need to understand what it means. It means you can't pack more things into one chip anymore. Performance improvements at package level, not at die level. The die, the chip itself, is no longer enough. You need to have more things inside. You can't put all the functions into a single, humongous, homogeneous chip. I use those words deliberately. Humongous, huge. It's getting bigger. One homogeneous chip. Yes, we're talking about 2 nanometers. Okay? Whatever. You cannot put more in that because it is getting bigger. So Moore's law is slowing down. You need to have more functions. So the traditional chip packaging is bonding. You will need to mix and match now. Different chiplets on one package. So if you look at the package, second slide, second picture there. It's better to have different technologies all put together, and when you put them together, you have to package them very differently. You just can't continue to put bonding wires. You have to have more creative ways of doing it. So heterogeneous integration is now needed and possible. That's what's happening. That means you can have chips that's 45 nanometers, 110 mix, or 2 nanometers, all different chiplets into one package. Now imagine the power you can have. That, by the way, is what's inside your mobile phone today. Your mobile phone is basically one big advanced package. Okay? So we need new ways. As new chiplets get invented and created, we need to have new ways. Not we, the designers. We, as in Malaysia, when we package, we just have to respond. Somebody comes in and says, I want this. Can you do it? And that's what Dr. Devon was trying to show. Different things are coming in. Okay? The other thing is more important, is equally important. More capabilities can now per volume. What I'm showing down at the bottom is actually an X-ray picture of the Meta glasses, or Google one, not sure which one. You can see how many chips is inside the glasses on the edge of the frame. What do you have to do, by the way? Some of you in this room actually help package that. And so we do have in Malaysia the technology to do this. Okay? So it's impossibly smaller devices. When you put them together, you have all kinds of issues which Dr. Devon presented earlier this morning. Smartphones, watches, hearing aids we don't think about. You cannot do hearing aids without advanced packaging. Okay? VR, AR glasses I just mentioned. So everything, practically everything you buy today, that's advanced, 3,000, 4,000 ringgit in your hand, have advanced packaging. Question: are they asking Malaysian companies to package? Do you want to? Because if you don't, somebody else will. Wake up. How do we do that? Next slide. The market itself. The pink is mobile and consumer market. That's what I was saying earlier. The consumer market is all advanced packaging. Smaller and smaller, more and more packed. Every watch in your hand that is fancy is there. Next, telecoms, infrastructure. We're talking about automotive, the green box. Okay. And basically, this is a market view of what Dr. Devon was pointing out earlier in the technical side. And you look at the picture on the right, the growth area, 7% compound annual growth rate. 9%, 12%. Telecoms. Okay. So the question is, when is Malaysia going to lose our lead? That 13%. We can still have those, but everything else is moving to advanced packaging. Okay. Next slide. So what does it look like? So I can't have an elaborate set of slides as Dr. Devon, but this is my quick summary. These are all the different types that you'll have to deal with. Each device, each product, each company will package it, will ask, this is how I'm going to make my VR glasses. Another company would have another VR glass, and they will do it differently. Each one will have a different way of putting it together, because it's my product. Can we deal with it? Each phone today is different. Samsung phone, Huawei phone, Apple phone, okay? Watches. So those, I just won't go into those. Those are the details that we don't need to go into, but the big picture is packaging, advanced packaging, there is no one way. That's the message. We heard that from Dr. Devon earlier. There is no one way. There is no standard to package. So if you want to be continuing to do this business, and you have 5 customers come to you and say, I want to do it, each one will have different, as we heard earlier. Do you think you have economies of scale anymore? Next slide, please. So, who are deploying advanced packaging? So this is freely available data. Who are the people? If you are in one of those companies, you should feel proud. You'll be thinking, what is ET talking about? I have it in Malaysia. I'm sitting here. In Intel, in MCOM, in ASC. I've got it. What's the problem? So the problem is the next page. Next, please. Our 13%, only 20 to 30, this is a rough number, are local. The others are the big guys. So in that 13%, and Mr. Lau, you need to share this with our government. I think we know that, right? All the big guys have advanced packaging. So what is Malaysia government trying to do, spending all this money? These big companies already have their own R&D, their own capability, their own technology. They have their own methods, which you saw. Are they sharing with any of us? Unless you are in one of them. We should. Why would they? So this is a wake-up call. Malaysia currently, or rather Malaysian local company, currently have no advanced packaging capabilities of our own. I do have a solution, which is the next slide. Next slide is, this is the Malaysian ecosystem. You look at all the people, they are there. They're here. So if Malaysian companies want to get advanced packaging, very simple. Just click one first. Next slide, click. Click M1. Okay, thanks. No, not yet. Right. Okay. We can buy the technology. Go ahead. go ask Mr. Lau, can we just go and buy? We know where to get it. Japan, China. Go and tell Kazana, I know where to buy. What do you need? You can't do it for less than $500 million. So as long as you have a justification to do that, you can. Okay? The white dotted lines are the local companies, so the local ecosystem as opposed to the wider ecosystem. Okay, next click. Now we can click. Now, if you look at, we can start to develop our own. And that is where I highlighted some companies have decided we will try to make it ourselves. We will try to build, and we want to encourage other people to do the same. So I will go through a little bit more of what is the thinking process of how we will enable that to other people. Because it's only important to have a whole ecosystem. They could work. Next slide, please. So, how do we develop our own capabilities? Malaysia already recognized as a powerhouse in semicon. MNCs are here. We have 50 years of legacy. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 supplying to them. All of you are here. If you're not in an MNC, you are here. We have a full range of equipment manufacturers. The world recognizes Malaysia, Penang, as the one that has everything. And if we don't, the people who are here know how to put it together. We know. So it's not that we don't know. The issue is advanced packaging is moving too fast for a single company. You can't do everything. Why? Because every company, everyone who's developing a product, everyone developing a VR glass, will want to do it their own. Why? Because they have competitive advantage. Already smart watches, there are so many different types with so many different types of sensors that each one's doing. Even, you probably heard, right? When Apple announced their iWatch, they got sued because there was some other function that was violating some time. So it's moving very, very fast. Unless you're as big as TSMC or Samsung, you can do the whole thing. We know they do that. Cosmos and all these other names that you hear about. Okay. Yes, if you want to bring it here, you pay them money, you can bring it in if you pay enough money. So therein lies the issue. So the customer demands are evolving every few months. We know that because different companies are doing it. So there is no common way to put it together. Not like wire bonding or lead frame standards. Okay. So we have to work together. Work together means not just talking, not just signing MOUs, not just taking photocopies. We actually have to work to progress those problems and solve them. The kinds of problems that you've heard this morning from Dr. Dev. Or we can follow others and just buy the equipment. Nobody's stopping you from buying equipment. So that's the options that you have. Next slide, please. Okay. Or we can create our own way of working. I happen to call it a consortium, and that's the word I learned also from my past experience. If you work together and you actually decide, we're not here to stand on the stage and just take photos. We're here to work as GEA, as IPC showed. They got companies together, the very companies that we look towards, who are here in MNC form, they collaborate in those forums. So why can't we do it ourselves? Okay. So because we need to create a consortium because it solves problems. Two massive for a single company. None of us can do it by ourselves. So it becomes a many-to-many collaboration, not a one-to-one arrangement. However, we need to commit resources to solve a problem. So you can't say, I want to go and solve, but you don't have engineers to identify what problems you have. You need to. We can also involve the triple helix, universities, government, and agencies. So there are ways to do it together, and you've already heard it is possible. Oh, so to create a consortium, we have to say it's open to anyone who desires to collaborate, including your competitors. You know, Intel and Samsung and TSMC work together in some places. Okay? So they decide to contribute and share to make things happen. They also decided not to depend on government. It's because they know what they want to do. Okay? So there are going to be clear rules for sharing common IP. Because one of the things where I hope many of you big concern is, what about IP? What about know-how? What about expertise? I don't trust the other guy. That doesn't work. The moment you say, I don't trust the other guy, it cannot work. You have to have trust. Otherwise, there's no point. They cannot solve a problem if you don't have trust to identify the problem. So, working together is making sure we understand the problem. And therefore, membership, there should be membership rules that applies to all. Okay? It's open to all who want to share learnings, adopt conclusions, focus on developing standards for adoption. So how does that work? You already heard about how the big boys outside Malaysia know how to collaborate. We should be able to do that too. Next slide. So, some of the successful consortiums you've already heard of. I guarantee you've heard at least about 5 of them. HDMI, USB, RISC-V, UCIe, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. My personal one that I was personally involved in, Infrared Data Association, that gave birth to Bluetooth, 3GPP. Nationally, we've heard of E3, IMEC, JDEC from Japan, Symantec. Symantec is US. Okay? Those are consortiums. Don't any one of you, when you hear your bosses say it cannot be done, you should tell them, are we bigger than them? Challenge those comments. The big boys can do it. They have more IP than any of you have. So what are you concerned about? So there is why not a Malaysian consortium? Next slide. So now I want to introduce the Malaysian Advanced Packaging Consortium. The 5 companies you see there are the founding members. That's exactly the issues that we want to try and address and resolve. They decided to commit resources, funds, and say we will do it, and we want to be able to get that going and open to others. The goal, I use the words, to kickstart a complete chip designed to test ecosystem, reduce reliance on imports, and adequate and accelerate Malaysia's leadership in advanced packaging. Who wants to be, who believes that's the right thing to do? You think it's the right thing to do? You think it's the right thing to do? No? You don't think so? Okay, some of you are very skeptical. And develop a collaborative culture of co-opetition in the industry. Co-opetition, collaborative competition. You need to know how to work on that way. Because why? Intel knows how to work with TSMC. If they don't, they're gonna die. So they know how to do. If you don't know how to do, something's going to happen. And make Malaysia the preferred destination for advanced packaging. So the only thing I can say is, at this point, is that the founding members, they are the ones putting this together because they are the industry, and only the industry can say what they want. And that's you, each one of you. And this is what we're doing to move on. Next slide, please. Hello? Are we? Next. Okay. So with that, I just want to say, watch this space. This is kind of a pre-announcement. We are in the process, the organization teams in the process of formalizing it. Once it's formalized, we'll be very clear what the rules are, other people come in. For now, you can meet up with these 5 companies, and if you are suppliers to them,